April 10, 3 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, all entertainment purposes, my thoughts are just my opinion. Verify all info on your own. Okay. What a bad ceasefire deal. The ceasefire deal was really the nail in the coffin, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is celebrating. By the way, why I don't understand our stock market. You would think, anyways, why is it's doing good? Doesn't make sense. Nail in the coffin because, okay, several reasons. The ceasefire happened. Iran didn't even show up to the negotiations. Iran's like, we're not going to show up for liars. And they're calling Trump, they're calling Netanyahu liars. They're like, there's no point. It's a waste of time. So Iran is pretty much, they did this in good faith, I think. They did this because of their relationship with Pakistan. And they said, fine, you know what? We'll give this a chance. I made a video a few weeks ago saying how the US, Iran was done with the negotiations. However, they still kept their communication lines open, right? So that's what I think that meant. Now, Iran is pretty much like done. Why? Because part of the ceasefire, you guys know the largest attack, there was like 100 locations attacked throughout Lebanon yesterday by IS, right after the ceasefire was signed. Now, IS and Trump, they signed this deal that I think they were desperate, son of a biscuit. They were desperate for this deal to be done, right? To like, let's get a ceasefire. Why? Because I think they wanted a pause. The UK, some dude in the UK basically said that they're going to be sending like thousands of interceptors over to the Middle East, right? To the Gulf countries and whoever. But I think yesterday, my video I made on April 9, it says that, basically the soldiers, Trump wants to get the soldiers in. It was a time to retool, to regroup, all that stuff, right? So I really think that that's what the ceasefire was for. However, now I think, now they're also saying that Lebanon was not involved. Pakistan was like, they're lying. We have the receipts. Here's our statement. Many say that the U.S. even edited the statement for Pakistan because they posted it and then they edited it, which was kind of fascinating. But anyways, so Lebanon wasn't involved, but it was. Now, Israel's going crazy because, again, right, like I've been talking about, they have their own objective. They have their own plan, right? The red heifers, all that stuff. And then on the other side, you have the U.S. that's like, dude, we need to maintain number one. Now, in life, it's hard to get to the number one spot, but it's harder to maintain, okay? Now, if any of you guys, anyways, the U.S. just wants to keep control, and that control is slipping away. The walls have closed. It's not that yesterday my video said the walls are closing, but after today, the walls have closed. Iran is done. Pakistan is getting pissed because they took the time. They asked Iran, like, dude, guys, come on, please, for our sake. And Iran's like, you're our brothers, you're our neighbor, let's do it. But with everything going on, and obviously whatever else, Trump is having a meltdown. Okay, he basically thinks everybody in America, and MAGA is the same way, everybody in America is against him. They're a bunch of lunatics. They don't see their actions. They're basically just crying. And that speaks also on IS, right? They don't understand their actions. They're just saying that everybody is against them. It's so unfair. Everybody's name calling. Everybody is dumb. But everybody's looking at the actions and basing them based on that. Like, what are you talking about? So Trump is going nuts because his wife, Melania, came out today with a really weird statement. She basically went in front of the whole press and she was like, oh, whatever. I didn't have any relationships with Epps, the files guy. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? This is weird. But there's a rumor that a few days ago, like 2 or 3 days ago, a book was released in the UK about her, which is pretty racy regarding, now this is all just entertainment rumors, but it required Prince Andrew and also Epps himself and even Putin. But anyways, that's all rumors, right? But here's the one thing that it did do is that book ripped the Band-Aid off of Trump. Now, the war, many people felt like it was like there for a distraction. The Band-Aid that was there and the blindfold that everybody had, which nobody forgot about it, but what he thinks, it was ripped off. So now the wounds become fresh. And now Trump is melting down. He's like, everybody is against me. And it's like, dude, well, look at what you're doing again, right? Actions. Actions have consequences. Yes, it's a weird concept. But now the whole world is looking at this and they're like, dude, look, the US right now is being run by like, a whatever. And you look at Netanyahu, and everybody is now kind of coming up against them. The Pakistanis, they're pissed off. They don't even acknowledge is, like on their passport, it says many other countries, even the prime minister of Spain, he opened an embassy in Tehran, which is now officially open. And publicly, he basically said that Netanyahu is a criminal and a lunatic kind of thing. And he got the whole country to cheer behind him. Everyone in Europe right now, Italy has not allowing the U.S. bases, U.S. to use their bases. Everybody is now slowly kind of turning against the U.S. because they're in desperation. They need oil, and Iran has it. Russia has it. While we're sitting here and we're talking about Venezuela, we're not even pumping right now. Venezuela is pumping, but we're not getting the quantity and everything that the world needs. The reserves are there, but it's going to take a couple of years. There's a lot of time left now in all of this, right? Turkey is a member of NATO, but Trump has been threatening that he's going to leave NATO. Now, one thing nobody is talking about is I feel like if that does happen and the US does leave, I feel like Turkey is going to start getting more active into this war, especially because of Syria, their borders, whatever. But because of Turkey is also creating an alliance with Iran, and now it becomes easier because everyone else in Europe is. Turkey is now no longer considered the T word for working with Iran, which is hella xenophobic and racist, right? But it happened. So I think now it kind of opens up the door where Turkey is going to start getting a little bit more involved because the US will potentially no longer be a NATO member. Now, all of the decisions that Trump is making, 1,000% emotional, thinking he's the king of the world. And Putin even said that, look, there's no way that there's going to be one leader of the world when you have Russia, China, and Iran. It's not happening. But Trump is like, well, it is. It is because I look the way I look and I have blonde hair. And everyone in the world is like, go fuck yourself, buddy. So it's a tough thing. It's really a tough position for America. And what our future holds is I do feel like America will distance itself from is. Yeah, say whatever you want. But I do feel like give it 2 years, 3 years, actually. I'll say 3 years. Within the next 3 years, okay, during Trump's term, I feel like Trump and is will have a fallout. And I do feel like America will have a fallout from is. It's going to happen. Mark my words. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Come back in 3 years, right? I feel like Lebanon is going to win. Syria will become in the control of probably Turkey, to be honest with you. In my opinion, this is what I think. I think Iraq is going to be more, they have been already friendly with Iran. I think a lot of these places and areas will begin to start taking control of a lot of these countries. The Gulf countries, I think Iran is going to go in. I think Iran is going to capitalize with Russia and China's help. Those three will go in and clean up the Gulf countries, in my opinion. Okay, it's just a matter of time. I think they didn't work. They worked on lavish things. They worked on lifestyle. They called everybody inferior to them because of their money. But now they'll get a taste of their own medicine, basically. So I think the Gulf countries, those are going to be done. I think the Middle East, the Middle East, let's say, it's going to be finished like what we know. It's going to be divided, spread up. And I feel like the new powers that are emerging in Asia will end up taking control as far as the resources. Not like, going in with checkpoints and whatever that was done in Pali, but I feel like by resources.